So I was going to kind of start this out with an introduction as to what Dropout is, but it occurred to me right before hitting record that nobody is clicking on this video if they don't have probably a deep knowledge of the history of Dropout. But one thing I will say that I do really love about Dropout is that all of their shows, or almost all of them, at least what they've done in the recent years, are like improv shows or game shows. You have your classic game shows like Game Changer, Actually, Dirty Laundry, things like that, that although in the instance of the Game Changer has a varying structure, they do have a game show-like structure with points divvied up and a winner and so on and so forth. And then you have your more improv shows like Very Important People and obviously Dimension 20, kind of the flagship show alongside Game Changer. And Dimension 20, yeah, it's D&D, but as a longtime lover of D&D, there's nothing that's really more improv than Dungeons & Dragons. Then I want to give a couple shout-outs to new things like Thousandaires and Smarty Pants, one of my favorite things that have come out recently. But above all of it, and a combination in the best possible way of all the different genres that Dropout dips its toe in for these reality shows, in my opinion, is Make Some Noise. It has the loosest possible structure of a game show and points divvied out to where they truly don't matter, but it has the best improvisationalists that are out there today and around Dropout and their general circle of people that they use for their shows. And every single one of the episodes is some of the funniest improv I've seen in my entire life. So, naturally, I had to make an entire video about it. So how Make Some Noise came about is actually rather interesting. Like it says in every single intro, it was spun off unchanged from the Make Some Noise episode. That was actually only the second episode ever of Game Changer. But then it kind of just became like one long running episode of the Noise Boys with continuous points. The Noise Boys, who are, of course, Josh, Zach, and Brennan. And Josh, Zach, and Brennan were used from the very beginning for what I can assume is a specific reason, which is their improvisational skills. Because the very first episode of the Noise Boys, all the way back in season 1 of Game Changer, had prompts just like dog, cat, cow, duck. But over the years, it has evolved to a point that we have prompts like this one, for example.
Once as well. Trying to sneak out of your old rickety-ass house when you accidentally knock over a porcelain vase, waking up your grandmother. We cut back and forth between your grandmother waking up to investigate the noise and you hurriedly putting the vase back together with superglue.
But Make Some Noise, ever since it has been spun off to its own show, has always been adapting. It is one of the best things about Make Some Noise is that every single season and almost every single episode, they take what is good from the last chunk that they did and they just improve upon it. So now in season 3, they're doing this thing where Sam gives them a line to read and then he gives them instructions on how to do it differently. And I think it works great. And because of this change that they do and this improvement, and also I really like the fact that they're like 40 minutes long now. That's really cool. But anyway, because of this, my favorite episode of all time is the most recent episode of Lou, Brennan, and Jacob Wysocki. And maybe that's just because I'm very impartial to those three guys, and I think that they work very, very well together as improvisationalists. But I think it's because Make Some Noise just improves upon every single episode. So every episode is the new best episode that they make. Now, in many ways, Make Some Noise is kind of the spiritual successor to Whose Line Is It Anyways? And there's a lot of comparisons that can be made. For one, there have been many things that come out over the years, and especially with people involved with Whose Line, that have referred to it specifically as the spiritual successor to it. They also have like a host, Sam, much like Drew Carey, that divvies out points that realistically don't matter. Brennan went on a big monologue, as Brennan does, about how the points really don't matter And it may be better if the points do matter, but I disagree. I like that the points don't matter, and it kind of puts it in line with Whose Line.
Wouldn't take anything away from the show to just do real points. And here's the thing. All of us are afraid of the rubric that we're trying to find for why someone gets to... But here's the thing. You're not protecting anyone's feelings because at the end of the day, Sam makes an arbitrary decision to give the ear to someone, and it still hurts every time.
Obviously, you have the prompts, you have the duo things, the singular things, but it is so much a spiritual successor to Whose Line, which I think we can all agree that until Make Some Noise came out, and many would argue, and I would hear them out, that Whose Line is the end-all be-all of improv. Make Some Noise is the best improv show that we have right now, by a long shot. And Wayne Brady has even been on the show, and if that's not enough of an endorsement for this, I really don't know what is, if you are a fan of Whose Line. But what truly makes a Make Some Noise episode? Is it the prompts that are given? Yeah, absolutely. They've evolved so much over the years, like I talked about, to the point now where even the prompts when they come up have me laughing when I read them out. Is it Sam? It's a part of it. Sam is an absolutely phenomenal host. But what truly makes every single episode of Make Some Noise is the cast. The three people that we have up there that are our comedians for the night. I know that Sam doesn't like when people rank things. And I am also not huge on ranking people. But I would like to point out that before I tell you my top 5 favorite Make Some Noise guests, I love each and every single one of their comedic styles, and every single person that has ever appeared on Make Some Noise has made me laugh. I'm not saying that this is the end-all be-all. I'm not saying that everybody else's opinion on who they love the most up there is not completely valid, because it is. This is just my completely biased top 5 list of Make Some Noise guests. But I could not resist the opportunity to talk about these 5 that I absolutely adore up there. Number 5 is Vic Michaelis, and they are one of the best improvisationalists out there. And I can't say that about every single person on my list, no matter how much I want to. So I reserve that specifically for Vic Michaelis.
A true crime podcast about the Hamburglar from the Ronald McDonald suite of characters.
A silent tube slide. The pitter-patter of fries leaving the cone into the basket. A mother shouting at her 2 children to quiet down. These are the sounds of the Reseda McDonald's on 4th and 19th Street. Hi, my name is Sarah Can of Coke, and I'm here to bring you an interesting mystery. One that maybe you know well, and one maybe you don't know at all. The hat, the shoes, the misunderstood face. His name is the Hamburglar.
They're obviously amazing. Dropout made an entire show for Vic and their improvisational talents. Whereas every single person kind of has a lane that they go in, that their talents reflect best on that kind of caricature that they play. Vic can be absolutely anybody that any scene needs, and they are amazing at it every single time. Next, you have Ross Bryant. Ross is kind of a Dropout regular, but not really to the point that like Lou and Brennan and Allie, people like that are a Dropout regular. But every single time that Ross Bryant comes on, especially when they have somebody like Brennan to play off of, he is absolutely phenomenal.
David Attenborough fucking hates toads.
And now moving on to the wetter part of the forest. Observe, if you will, this slimy little denizen, neither fish nor fowl, perched right upon the lip of the lapping brook. This blob-like, repellent belch of nature. Evolution doesn't have a plan. It makes frequent and catastrophic mistakes. And this is one of its most horrible botch jobs.
Ross Bryant is an absolutely brilliant comedian and thinks on his feet in such a quick and witty way that every single time that I see his name now, I'm very excited. 3 is Jacob Wysocki, and I love that Jacob is kind of having like a surgence in Dropout, and he's appearing in so much more. He's in the newest season of Dimension 20 that I cannot wait to cover because he is a huge asset to that. And Jacob Wysocki has a very, very specific thing that he's good at, and it's being big and bold and over the top, and nobody does it better than Jacob Wysocki does it.
Politely asking the deli guy, Mr. Mayonnaise, for no mayo.
Hey, welcome to the deli, sweetheart. What can I make for you, okay?
Sorry, I work right around the corner. I keep seeing this.
Oh, you
store.
never been here?
No, but
This is Mr. Mayonnaise's mansion. The best sandwiches this side of where we are.
Okay.
Number 2, and a lot of people, because of how I lean towards Dimension 20 and D&D fandom, might think that this would be number 1, but number 2 is Brennan Lee Mulligan. And I was tempted to put Brennan at number 1, but you'll see why I didn't. But Brennan is so worthy of the number 2 spot. 1, because he has had the most appearances on all of Make Some Noise. A big part of that is being part of the Noise Boys, obviously. But Brennan's character that he plays on Game Changer doesn't really translate over to Make Some Noise. I feel like outside of Dimension 20, you see the realest Brennan that you do on Make Some Noise. And one thing that I really appreciated about Sam Reich is that he obviously gives prompts that are tailor-made for each contestant that he has on. And anytime Brennan is on, you can bet your ass he's going to give him a crazy-ass monologue to give that Brennan is going to twist into an absolutely brilliant piece of art that makes you laugh your ass off.
A monologue from HBO's Game of Rock, Paper, Scissors.
Done quite well for yourself, haven't you? I remember you when you were nothing more than a pebble. Your father was an estimable warrior and king in his time. The Boulder of Rockland, they called him. Me, nothing more than a humble sheet of paper. Oh, I can't drink.
Let's absorb it.
Outside, I have a Googleplex of soldiers. Anyone that wants to look up how much that is, go ahead and do that right now. While you've been gallivanting around, falling in love with that beautiful scissor princess, I have been preparing for this day. Years have elapsed. My family cut to ribbons, shredded, made into compost. Nothing more than detritus and pulp. Time will tell. Even the most humble sheet of paper can surround you when you least expect it. I will see you on the battlefield.
And number 1 is Zach Oyama. Zach is so incredibly good. Whereas Brennan gets his comedy from talking for 4 minutes straight, Zach gets his comedy from finding 1 or 2 words at the exact right moment. I've heard people call him a comedy sniper, and there's nothing more accurate to describe him. Zach is a man of few words on Make Some Noise sometimes, and every single word he says is perfect.
The bass part in an a cappella song where there's just not a lot of bass part.
Yep. Nope. Bye.
Now, there are some other really phenomenal people that I personally love when I see on screen. And once again, obviously, this is all biased. Whoever you like the most is your opinion, and I completely respect that. Everybody that's on that stage is some of the best comedians that I've ever watched. So this is all my personal opinion, but I wanted to give some honorable mentions before I go to anything else. Number 1, you have Jaquise. Number 2, Matt. Number 3, Sung Wan. Number 4, Lou Wilson. And number 5, Brian David Gilbert. And then, of course, I kind of got to just give an honorable mention to absolutely anybody that's ever been on it. Once again, this is something that I would love to do, but I would just be terrified to get on the stage. Anybody that gets on the Make Some Noise stage has my absolute props. Like, amazing. But I'll meet you over there. So as strange it is, I'm going to get a little bit deep and emotional about this Dropout show the same way I did about the last Dropout show that I made a video on. And, you know, I get the irony of that and the weirdness of it because of, like, what Dropout is and what their shows are like. But I honestly really mean it, especially about Make Some Noise and Dimension 20, the last two that I've made a video on. Because Make Some Noise, for me, is like my comfort show, you know? I know that some people have comfort shows like Friends, How I Met Your Mother, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you know, things that they return to that they absolutely love. And I like all of those. But there's just something about Make Some Noise that at the end of a hard day, at the end of a day that's just kind of gotten me down, I can turn on Make Some Noise and it'll cheer me up and it'll give me some laughs in a day that I didn't think I'd have any laughs. And now you can ask anybody that knows me as well. I have just the worst memory in the world. Whatever the opposite of a steel trap is, that's my memory. So that serves me pretty well. It's pretty convenient because every single time I watch one of these episodes, and I've probably seen all of them like 3 or 4 times, it's like the first time I've ever seen it. I get as much of a laugh out of the 4th time I've seen a joke as like the first time I saw a joke. So that's pretty awesome. But I've been struggling for a while now on how to make a video about Make Some Noise. Because I know how much I love it. I know that it means a lot to me. But I was like, how do you make a video about a show like Make Some Noise? And I just kind of came to the conclusion I wanted to just kind of make a love letter. I just wanted to gush for like 10, 15 minutes about Make Some Noise, how much I love it, how funny it is, how great all the people involved are, and just kind of say thank you. So that's what this is. It's just a love letter to Make Some Noise and me saying thank you for improving some days I didn't think would be improved with some amazing laughs. So there it is. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my other videos.